All right. Thank you for coming and listening. This is episode 3 of the OG Pumpkin Podcast. My name's Angel Cortes. I'm a former Army Ranger, and before all that, I was a gang member. I grew up in poverty, you know. So if you want to listen to all that stuff and into great detail, because maybe this is the reason why you came to the podcast, check out Andy Stubbs' episode when I was on his podcast, or Mike Ritlin, or Field Crafts podcast with Kevin Owens. But I created this podcast because there's certain things that need to be talked about, and stories of other individuals need to be shared, and sometimes just BS, and save myself hours and hours on being on my phone. Hopefully I can just tell people, hey, go to episode 5 and we're talking about this and that, man. Have a good day. And right now, instead of being back and forth on social media or by text, right now a hot subject is fakes in the military community. For those that don't know, 2 individuals just got caught recently within the same month.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Within the same month. And these are individuals that were making a lot of money. They were making thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe monthly or maybe every now and then, but they had sponsors with big companies, and they got outed. So one specifically being Travis Raids, and we're going to go into detail on how is it that an individual infiltrates a community, such a special, niche community. How does one stay in it? And some of the stuff that were happening, and along the way, he made certain friends, and people got caught, and there's a lot of questions out there. So I asked. So before I forget, my guest is.
I'm Chris. Served in 275 for a couple years. Been in the regular Army for a while now too, and been friends with Angel for probably a year and a half now. So.
Yeah. And we're gonna talk about Travis Raids because Chris was one of the main guys that he was seen with. He was, Travis got as deep as being around big multi-million-dollar companies, and if they're not multi-million-dollar companies, they're multi-$100,000 company, right?
Yeah.
Companies like Tour Knives, For Observations, Flux Defense, Haley Strategic,
yeah.
What other companies?
Well, he had his own company,
and he had his own clothing company. So, people, I'm assuming people have a lot of questions. A lot of hate has probably gone your direction, and stories.
Yeah.
And just give us a little taste of what, since when you found out, where were you and how did you find out that Travis Raids was a fake?
So initially. I was already having like a shitty day. I was like at the urgent care or some shit.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting there, and Kyle actually texted me. He sent me the Guardians of the Green Beret post, and I was like, oh, this is weird. And he was like, yeah, I don't know if I believe it or whatever, but I guess we'll see. And I ended up texting Travis, and I was like, hey man, well, because I noticed his account was also gone, like it was down. I was like, oh, that's weird. That's really weird. Yeah. So I texted him. I'm like, hey man, like I noticed your account is down. Like, everything good? He's like, yeah, I just need to lay low for a while or something. And I was like, okay, this is weird, right? But I honestly didn't believe it at first.
Yeah. And then before we go into detail.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to gloss over this. What type of negative feedback have you been getting from this and feeling?
For me, I mean, there's like tons of pictures out there of him and I, and some people have been like, I don't mind the memes. Like, I think it's actually pretty funny. People making memes about it and everything. But there's a couple that like my face was plastered in, and I was just like, oof, man, like. can you just crop me out?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to be associated. I don't want to be involved in the drama type of thing. But there's definitely been quite a bit of negative feedback towards me too, because basically whenever it's always the same thing. Whenever this happens in the community, there's always a witch hunt right after, and anybody that's associated or connected is like hunted down, and they're like, oh, this person's a fake too. So I literally had people making copycat accounts of mine.
Yeah.
But one added like stolen valor to the end of it, and then they were like going through all these comments and being like, "Hey, I'm so and so. Like, investigate me for stolen valor because I was sucking Travis's dick or whatever." Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, holy fuck, And I don't really give it the time of day. Like, it's not worth it. I just delete, block, whatever. But that's the kind of stuff that's been happening. And then
so when you said you didn't believe it, right? That he was a fake. How did it make you feel when you figured it out, like when he did hit you?
It was pretty like gut wrenching, to be honest. It was, like it made me feel sick.
Yeah.
And especially because the way that I knew was when he reactivated his account and he posted an apology, and I was just like, oh,
which was like how many days later?
It was the same day, actually. It was like later.
Oh, was it the same day?
It was later that day that
okay.
that I found out. Yeah, that I saw the post. Pretty sure it was it might have been the next day. I don't remember, but.
And because a bunch of questions come up for this, like first on my side, I got the Guardians of the, was it Guardians of the Green Beret? Yeah, I got their post sent to me, and immediately I didn't want to believe it. No, it wasn't that I didn't want to believe it. I was just like, I didn't want to believe that I got fooled, but I did get fooled. So that lasted for like maybe 20 minutes, and then I accepted, like, dude, you got fooled. Yeah. You were fooled, and then because immediately people were asking questions, right? Because he came to an event, which, by the way, the first time we met, when was it? Was it at an OG Pumpkin Vehicles and Tacos event?
Yeah, when you and I met, yeah, and then I think Travis was there too, and that was like the second time I had met him.
Yep, and so and that's how we met, and that's how Travis Raids infiltrated, the California, at least from my perspective, when he, the California, group, right, that we've got going on, specifically with OG Pumpkin. You brought him over
to that event. I think I don't remember, but
because how did he come?
Because I met him because we basically just had mutual friends on Instagram, right? And then I met him at SHOT Show, and then he kind of just, I remember him mentioning like, oh, hey, I'm going to this event, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going too. So I don't know how he ended up there, but people immediately asked me like, hey man, didn't you hang out with this guy? I was like, well, he went to an event, and as a matter of fact, he went to 2 events after the first event, but no, we didn't really hang out. And then I said another ranger brought him over, or they were buddies. Yeah, that's how he was in my eyes, was like, oh, well, if he's kicking it with this ranger, which is probably the vibe a bunch of people got. Yeah, that's exactly how it went. Because the only reason I was in with him was, like I said, we had mutual friends. He was. Did he tell you he was a Green Beret? Oh yeah. Like the first day? I tell you right now, like because people
want to know.
Yeah, I actually set him up with like several of my friends. Yeah. Because they were all saying like, oh, I wanna go to selection, and I was like, hey, talk to my buddy Travis. And that's why I posted an apology, because I was like, hey, I'm sorry, like I made a bad judgment call, and
so how'd it go? You guys met at SHOT Show, right?
A bunch of people. Yeah, so we actually met at SHOT Show, but we'd been friends on Instagram for a while.
And what was the first interaction like?
First interaction, it was pretty brief at SHOT Show, like because I was working the whole time. but you know, he came through, and he was just very chill, you know. I'm pretty sure like immediately, like even when we were friends on Instagram, and we hadn't met yet, like it was already like known that he was a Green Beret, that he was a Green Beret. And you know, he was mutual friends with some of my Ranger buddies, and I think at the time he was working for Flux at the time.
Yep.
So we ended up the company that I was working with, we ended up just kind of having this discussion with them, and yeah, so he like came over to my booth, and we literally talked for maybe like 15-20 minutes, but
and then after that, then that started the...
Yeah, but that was like the initial start of the friendship. And then I think the second time was when he came to that event.
So he came to the event,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys were pretty much, because there's a bunch of people, there's like 50, 60 people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, ranging from law enforcement to active and former SOF and just regular Marines, usually mostly Marines because we're in SoCal, Pendleton, and all that. I saw you guys together, but then afterwards, then I would say then you guys were really seen everywhere together.
Mm-hmm.
We're throwing knives together.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the company name because I don't talk to any of them directly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they feel, but at one point, I got a call, and it was Travis Raids, and he was with, I'm not sure if it's the CEO or second guy, third guy in command, but they were like, so and so, I'm so and so from so and so company.
Mm-hmm.
We have a huge project coming up. Travis told me the story about you. I think you have an incredible story, and we want you to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't told anybody this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually just brought it up to the defense strategies guys this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go to that later on. But so that happened. And then I think you were there during that conversation because I think Travis was like, "Oh, I'm here with Chris."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at the end, they didn't. I never got the call. I wasn't part of the project.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, it was like, oh shit, they're doing big things. I told you, man, that's awesome. So as things are happening, it gets even harder to question the guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you guys are doing, you know, these big things, and it's like, well, we only hung out twice at the vehicle range, and even then we had like small conversations. He knew the lingo.
Mm-hmm.
But so I didn't have time to question him. I wasn't spending a lot of time, but you were. So like, did you, maybe looking back now, did you maybe get an idea that like, hey, maybe you're not real, or how is it that you don't pick it up?
Dude, honestly, I'm like kind of still asking myself that. And I don't know, you know, there's definitely like little things here and there that I was like, okay, like maybe I need to like keep, I tend to do this a lot with people, but like I'll keep people at arm's length, on, in certain categories, you know what I mean? But I was definitely like, I thought we were doing big things, you know, we were,
well, no, it wasn't that you thought. You guys were doing big things.
Well,
these are multi-million dollar companies.
We were doing big things.
Big production stuff.
We were, because I was working with like several other people. Basically what happened was I'm not going to name the company, but I essentially started a nonprofit and got him involved. And then, and he did do like a lot of work. He did make us a lot of connections and all this stuff. But at one point it ended up falling through because of him. And then, and I took his side in the whole thing too, regrettably.
What happened?
Essentially, there was a falling out with
Okay.
one of the connections that we had made.
Okay.
I don't want to go into detail or name
Fair
names, but yeah, essentially there was a falling out with a certain somebody, and he and it was his fault. But I took his side on it because I was like, oh well, he's my friend, like,
You trusted him.
we started this together.
Yeah.
I trusted him. And by that point, I trusted him. But Yeah, so I mean that whole thing is down the tank now because his name was associated to it.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard, to question him.
Yeah.
Or just people because, and I blame Hollywood, because who is the special operations guy in not Hollywood in general for like everything, but they're a big, to say that they're not a big part of this is false, man, because they are, because who's casted for roles like that? People that look like Travis. Travis is big, right? He's not like the biggest guy in the world, but he's tall.
Yeah.
He's jacked.
He's fit. He's got
fit.
tattoos.
He's got the tattoos.
He's got the whole look. He even knew how to shoot. He knew tactics.
And he knows how to shoot.
Which he probably just learned from actual people.
Which any civilian at this point can go, because there's so many, which is a good thing, that there's so many schools of veterans that have gone out and are passing down that experience to civilians. Certified individuals, right? Like real individuals. And then there's also civilian shooters that are good, and we should admire their ability to shoot, but that's about it. And it gets a little gray, in my opinion, when they start maybe talking about combat, about this and that, when it's like, dude, you haven't even been in combat. But I think if you're a shooting instructor, that's great, man. You want to teach people how to shoot, but then how you start portraying yourself, it gets iffy. And then also, I mean, let's not kid ourselves, man. When you're a soft dude with combat experience, you get seen and you get treated a certain way. You get looked at a certain way. So, some civilians say, "Hey, how was this or that?" Like, what's his name? Jason, the intergalactic operator.
Oh yeah.
Turns out he spent 0 days in the military. But he was telling people, dude, people were messaging me once I made that meme. If people haven't seen the meme, I made a meme of, I asked my wife, what is the most ridiculous picture of me right now? Look through your phone. And she found some funny ones. But I'm like, no. I need it to be like ridiculous. Like some of them are like kind of embarrassing, kind of funny, but it's not really like a ridiculous, like you want to point and laugh at me. She found one, like I had put myself in one of her tops. She's like, oh, it's dirt. She's like, I'm gonna throw it away. And then I was like, let me see if I can fit in it and break it. So it's like I'm in it, and this thing look like it's about to fucking break. And I was like, nah, but that's not really. So I found one where it was my 2-year-old's birthday party. We call her Chonchis the Menace. Her real name is Alina, but we call her Chonchis. So Chonchis the Menace because she is legit like Dennis the Menace. Like our first 2 kids were great kids. When people were saying, oh, terrible twos and this and that, I was like, that doesn't apply to us. Because the first and the second were fucking so good. We didn't have any of that. Chonchis is like, oh, I'm gonna fucking give you all of that. Dude, any chance she gets to fuck shit up, she fucking does it. She laughs about it too. She is all what we should have got spread out. She is all of it. So we were all in overalls because Dennis the Menace the movie, and I got a face paint person to come, and then I was like, yo, can you, there's a picture of my nephew. They went to some type of park event, and they were just doing like simple little face paints, like a butterfly, a sun, a rainbow, and he said, can you do Spider-Man? So the high school girls were like, okay. So they tried to do Spider-Man, but it's like so fucked up, dude. It doesn't even look like Spider-Man.
Way off.
So when I hired this person to come do face paints, I showed her a picture of it, of how fucked up it is. I was like, can you do this Spider-Man? She's like, I can do a better Spider-Man. I was like, no, I want this Spider-Man. So the picture that I chose for this meme was me holding a skateboard in overalls with the fucked up Spider-Man painting, and then with the one with Travis in the helicopter, and intergalactic operator, which is Jason Fett, just kidded the fuck out. Looks super cool, got the hat backwards, the beard, the tattoos, a gun, name brand shit, and I said, who is the real deal? Right? And people in the known or fucking would you know, they know that, oh, those two dudes are fakes,
Yeah.
right? If those dudes didn't fake who they were and just did what they were doing, I think they would be successful individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you've been to the OG Pumpkin events,
Mm-hmm.
there are dudes there who don't have any soft background, but they're just good individuals,
Yeah.
and they're successful in what they do. You know, you don't have to fake it, but
Mm-hmm.
let's not kid ourselves. If you're soft, it's a one up, right?
Yeah.
And we deserve it because we worked real hard, and of course we can't get treated like everyone else because we're not like everyone else.
Mhm.
At least at one point we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe that we should keep striving and keep that work ethic, that commitment,
Yeah.
past
Yeah.
our military careers, so we
Yeah.
can really stand for what, you know, we were at one point. You know, I'm not an Army Ranger now.
Mhm.
I'm a former Army Ranger, but like I that creed, maybe not specifically word per word it applies in my life,
Mhm.
but I use that creed because I transfer that to everything. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we all should do. So yeah, so he's a great shooter,
Mhm.
right? He's a fucking great shooter. He had the look, he had everything, and that's why it's kind of hard to believe, you know, and it's kind of not necessarily hard to believe, hard to catch,
Mhm.
especially once you start to get the ball rolling and you're with these big companies.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought that up, that talk with Defense Strategies this weekend. So Defense Strategies is for the listeners, it's a company made up of special operation guys. The head guy is Mike O'Dowd. He is a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
And we have nothing but it just turns out that way. We just have nothing but soft in the company. We have MARSOC guys, Green Berets, and Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought it up because Mike is upset, as he should be, and a
Okay.
bunch of us are upset, and Travis upset a lot of fucking people, and the group to fucking piss off, you want to interact, come in and piss off special operation dudes,
Mm-hmm.
which, like, we're not the most mentally balanced individuals.
Yeah.
So you and I have talked at the ranges, and including Travis on our opinions on the community, that we should build a good community, but at the same time, you know, like, if you have to do stuff, then you have to do stuff. So he has a lot of people to worry about.
Mhm.
I hope, because as this thing gets bigger, more people are going to listen to it, and sooner or later, shitheads are going to listen to this. So I know someone's
Yeah.
going to tell him, or he's going to hear this.
Mhm.
But the stuff that we talked about is especially that I said, still stands to this day.
Yeah.
But he's got other people to worry about that are probably closer to him, to where he lives. Not me, but than me. But it's just this whole thing, you know. So I brought it up to fucking Defense Strategy. So I was like, dude, because Mike was upset. We're talking about we're doing this project with this one company, and they're going for Instagram numbers,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're picking, or not necessarily picking, but they social media is such a fucking big thing. So when Travis Wright has a huge following and he has these deals with these companies, and it's hard to question, right? And then it's also easy for other companies to be like, you do come and be part of this, and so
Yep.
then you got into the mix, right? So we were talking about that, and I told him, you know, I'm gonna have you on the podcast because, you know, thank you for coming, because I wanted to talk to you about this
Mm-hmm.
in person to
Yeah.
get your side,
Yeah.
right? And then I threw it in there. You want to do it on the podcast? You were like, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I told him, like, dude, you want to know something? I was going to be part of this. So now I'm talking to Mike, right? I told Mike,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I wanted to be part. I mean, I was going to be part of this big project, and it was Chris and Travis Raids, and then I don't know who else. And then they told me I was going to be part of it. I never got a call. I never mentioned this to Mike because it didn't matter. Like, this doing stuff like that is cool, but it's not on my list.
Right.
Like, as in, like, I want to, I fucking need to.
Mm-hmm.
So I had never even brought it up to Mike. So then, but now, based on what's going on in the subject, then I told him, like, yeah, dude, I was supposed to be part of this project. I never got called. And he's like, the fucking irony in that the big company when Travis raids, but not you.
Yeah.
So then back to the meme, and I said, who's the real deal? Travis raids, intergalactic operator, or the short brown dude who's still trying to be a skateboarder, a pro skateboarder, right?
Yeah.
And like, dude, like this isn't with everybody. This isn't with everybody, but it's a thing that it's hard to question. Dudes with tattoos that are buff, tall, and know how to shoot, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what Hollywood gives us. Dude, when is the last time in a special operations movie or any fucking combat action movie or just super action movie a short guy was a star? It's not what sells, right? So, dude, like that happens to me enough times that I know it's a thing. I'm a half cup type of guy. So I don't go out looking for like this dude or this company treating me this way because I'm short and not super jacked. No, I don't go looking out for that. But it happens enough times, even within Regiment, that or before Regiment, that you're like, oh, this it's not special operations. So if you were to match, so the whole point of the meme was if you were to line us all up, if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, well, the dude in front of the jack dude who's 6 feet tall with fucking muscles and tats, he's the real deal. He's standing in front of a helicopter.
Yeah.
The dude who's got the hat backwards, he's got the beard, he's tall too. And I say tall because I'm fucking short, so everyone's fucking taller than me.
Yeah.
With the fucking loaded out gear, he's the real deal, not the short brown dude.
Yeah.
And I bring this all up because, dude, he fooled a bunch of us. That dude Travis has been to my house. So he went to OG Pumpkin event twice, and then he went to my house for the skate event.
Yeah. He was sleeping on my couch the weekend before we all found out.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, because and I go into great detail about all this because people have these questions. Active duty dudes are messaging like us, like, what the fuck is going on in the community and the veteran community? How is it that these dudes are infiltrating these companies, right? Intergalactic operator was in the Pacific Northwest, and the messages that I've gone, dude, he was part of a bunch of companies, and a bunch of civilians bought this shit. So active duty guys don't know what's going on, right? They don't know that in the out it's kind of harder, right?
Yeah.
If we met up at fucking Regiment, you know I'm a fucking ranger. I'm in the brown fence.
Yeah.
But on the outside, it's not that easy. Right. So, and some people might be like, oh, that it is or isn't. But this is why we're having the conversation to illustrate how hard or easy it is to spot these people. Right. Yeah. So now back to you. So this happens. You find out he tells you that you have to, he has to lay low, and then you see the apology. Do you message him back?
No, I didn't message him. I didn't hear from him until like a day or two later.
What did he say?
And he gave me his like personal apology, and it was like fucking 2 sentences, and I was just like, all right, whatever. I just left him on red. I was like, because the first like day or two, I was definitely like, I was definitely kind of like beating myself up over it, and I was definitely kind of shocked. And then after that, I was just like, all right, well, I'm moving on. I still got too much going on.
He still has his accounts, right?
I'm guessing he just froze them or something. I really don't know.
I think because he did message me, and then somebody sent up a screenshot of his apology letter, and then I remember thinking like, oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And then I went to it, and he had blocked me. And then I'm like, well, I'll go through the OG Pumpkin page, and he had blocked that. Yeah. So that's why I asked: is it even still up there?
I don't think it is. I think he froze them all because he had like deactivated it and for when it first came out, and then like later in the day he reactivated it just to like put out the apology, and then the next day he like deactivated everything again. And
so, dude, what does that do to you? Like, so the negative comments. You say you try not to pay attention or whatever. Okay, but But what happened between you and Travis, like, dude, are us veterans, not even just special operation dudes, but veterans themselves, and I think probably even people in general, aren't that easy to open up and let themselves make new friends.
Yeah.
Right. So what did that do to you?
Well, basically, you know, I pretty much have stopped using Instagram, or at least the one account that I have like a little bit of followers on. I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm gonna rethink this whole thing and like tighten up my circle again. Like, even if it's like, I mean, I already tend to keep my circle pretty tight of like, of people that I'm actually friends with and who I follow.
I think a lot of us are like that. Yeah.
But now I'm also like thinking, okay, maybe I want to tighten up the circle of people that follow me too.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I don't want this following or like random people. Like, I just want this tight knit, you know, closed circle. Cause for me, like, Instagram's always been like a love-hate thing. It's just like, you can definitely like connect with a lot of people on there, and it's great. You can kind of open up on there, and, you know, reach out to like younger people and whatnot. Like, I've had a lot of young dudes like reach out to me and, you know, ask me about the military and whatnot. So, and I like helping those guys out, you know.
Why?
I don't know. It's just kind of, I'm just that type of guy. Like, I'll never shut somebody out if they ask for help, you know? So, you know, especially when a young person comes and they don't have life figured out yet, like I used to be there, you know what I mean? I used to be that guy, and I never had anybody, back before I joined, I never had anybody to go to and be like, hey, like, what do I do? How do I do this? Like, what's the best advice you can give me, type of thing. That wasn't really a thing when I was first joining up. So, so to be able to like provide that for people is kind of cool, and just kind of tell people like, hey, these were my shortcomings, you know, because like I'll tell you right now, I was in Regiment for about 3 years and I failed Ranger School, right? And so I got moved out to the big Army. And so that's like my number one advice to some of those guys is just like, okay, in RAPS, don't quit. When you get to Ranger Regiment, don't fail Ranger School, because I did. And it basically ruined my special operations career. So
for the followers, because I'm trying to do my best to like explain more into detail, because dudes who Google or hear comments or videos, they're like, okay, well, scroll is what makes you a ranger. Why would you get kicked out for failing Ranger School if that's not being a ranger?
Yeah.
So what it is that it's an official requirement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So what people don't know is that you have to go to RASP, and I think Regiment is super easy to get in, and it's fucking hard to stay in. I think it was for me, because I remember going through RASP and be like, fuck, dude, this is hard. Like, they were fucking kicking our ass and really testing us physically, mentally. And then you get to Regiment and you're like, oh no,
this is the real thing.
Yeah. And Cadre would even say that to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, and I kind of like, I expected like, it is going to be more challenging.
I never believed them.
But it's like,
I was like, there's no way. This
way.
has got to be the hardest part right here.
Dude, because you have to fucking meet the standard day in and fucking day out. And I remember, dude, when I got out, one of the things that I remember, Analia, my wife, Analia was telling me, how do you feel, not that you're out? I was like, I feel like kind of relieved, because in a way, because you don't have to be on. I don't have to be on anymore. And dude, and it took me a while to not be on anymore, because in Regiment, dude, the fucking minute you get fucking in there till you get out, you have to be on. And if not, if you mess up or whatever, you get kicked out,
Mm-hmm.
or you get put in a shitty place, and it's so much it's expected from you because, rightly so, because of the fucking unit, the standards, what we do, and this is why a bunch of dudes maybe get burned out or they drink and then they go fucking fight because we have to release something, right? We can't just be on 24/7, and that's why we go to the fucking bars. Or part of the reason we go to the bars and just drink a lot and just maybe get in a fight.
Yeah.
You have to decompress.
Yeah.
You have to, but hopefully we should find healthier ways to decompress from such a stressful job. But yeah, so you were saying, so then you failed Ranger School. How did you fail Ranger School?
I failed patrols in Derby my first time around, and then I just failed Rap Week. I failed the Ruck, I think it was, or no, I failed the Land Nav my second time through. Yeah.
And then you got back to Regiment, and then they're like, "Yo, dude, out."
Yeah.
And then you went to regular Army.
Yeah.
And then how many years were you at the regular Army?
I was only in active duty. I was there for like a year, and then got out, switched to the National Guard, and then I did. I was like reserve status for like a year or so, and then went back active duty with the National Guard for like 2 years. And now I'm still in the National Guard. Currently, I'm inactive right now. For
the
like
biggest thing, what I saw was that for the riots, you guys were fucking basically trying to hold LA together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures.
And old Cameron Bath.
Yeah, dude. I saw you guys, and I remember being like, "Fuck, dude!" A bunch of stuff was happening during the riots that I didn't think were going to happen. My friend from my friend from 275 got out. His wife is a very intelligent individual, very kind, beautiful person, kind. And I met her, and I was just like, oh man, like I'd known, I've talked to my friend, and then I met his wife, and I was like, and I was like, oh shit, dude, like they got something good going on. And I kind of felt bad of what happened during the riots because it's not that easy to find good couples that your family can connect with, right? I mean, let's face it, some marriages are falling apart or barely holding together. Yeah. So when I saw them and they had their dog, and it was great, and I was trying to show them California and show them my family that everything's great here too, and it happened to be during the fucking riots. Yeah. So what happened was they came down. We were at Venice Beach because they've never like explored California like that, and I was like, yeah, dude, Venice Beach is cool. It's a bunch of weirdos, but a bunch of beautiful art and cool things on the strip, and you see people breakdancing and doing all this shit. So we go there and we start drinking some slushies, vodka, right? And I'm I am a lightweight. I'm a lightweight, and we're walking by, and I hear one of the shop owners say, "Hey, you should tell another shop owner, hey, you should close down. They're coming." And I'm kind of buzzed, but I heard that they're coming. I'm like, "What? Venice Beach doesn't close in the middle of the fucking day." Yeah. What do you mean they're coming? And then I kind of like sobered up, and then it made me sober up, and then I realized there's 2 helicopters flying over us. And then they're like, because the rioters are coming, and I remember being like, oh, let's get out of here. So we start walking towards our car, passing the skate park, and there's like, dude, 50 to 60 people like getting ready to. They got signs, and some of them, like it was very obvious groups. There was like a big group with signs, and then there was a small group like getting ready for shit. Face masks, maybe some knee pads and all that, right? Yep. And I remember like, yo, we gotta get out of here, and she goes, and I can tell she was nervous, right? My friend and I were good. I knew we would be good. And she goes, but I can tell she was nervous. She goes, we gotta get out of here. And I was like, yeah, let's get out of here. She goes, and she looked at me, and she was like, because you guys will be okay. They're white. Yeah. So she's like, because you guys will be okay. And I said, oh, I know. Like, I know we're gonna be okay,
Yeah.
and I'm worried too because you guys are here. Let's just get out of here. We're completely outnumbered, but I felt good though because I'm a fucking American and I stay ready. So
Yeah.
I knew we would be good.
Yeah.
And then that is the day that when I woke up. So they're at Venice Beach, and what a lot of people don't know is what's right next door, Santa Monica. Yeah, Santa Monica's right next door. I saw a video of 8 SUV cop cars on fucking fire, burnt to the fucking crisp.
Yep.
And I remember thinking like, dude, if in like a riot or like something rowdy, if you can like break a window to a cop car, dude, it must have been heavy because no fucking cop lets you do that. Well, people want to clown on California and stuff like that, but the cops here are fucking hard.
Yeah.
You know, also depending on what city you're from, because they have to
But
face,
especially like LAPD.
yeah, especially LAPD,
Yeah.
because they have to deal with a bunch of dangerous cities, criminals, and all that, right? So the fact that these people outran a minimum of 8 cops, because there wasn't only 8, but a minimum of 8 cops, because there's 8 cop cars, and burned them all to a fucking crisp. I can only imagine the fucking shit that was there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you and others are trying to fucking hold it together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I remember watching that and being like, dude, I was like super proud of all you guys, because I was like, fuck, dude, like I can't help. Well, legally I can't help.
Yeah.
Right. So you guys were doing that and trying to hold it down. I'm pretty sure it was like that in all the major cities.
Yeah. It was definitely, that was a trip for sure. Luckily it didn't turn out to be anything too horrendous, not on my end anyways. There was definitely a lot going on throughout the city, but that shit was just, it was weird being downtown in uniform driving around a Humvee. It was just a total trip, because it felt like being on deployment again, because we had like our little base at the stadium there.
Yeah.
And every time we'd go to leave the stadium, it'd be like, all right, condition 1, like bracket, and then you're driving downtown and you're like, wait, this is LA, not Afghanistan. The fuck. So that was definitely
Can
weird.
you hear him? Okay, because sometimes you're going like super low. I remember speaking softly, so I remember like,
that's fine.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
But so, dude, I'm kind of glad you brought it up that, hey, up front, I got kicked out of Regiment. My special operations was only 3 years. Did you deploy with?
Yeah, I did one deployment.
Yeah. So the reason I bring it up is because I think in who you are, people grow, right? So when I meet people on the outside, if they did great things in the military, that's awesome. If they did a little bit of great things and then fucked up, I don't hold it. Get to them. It's who you are now. People grow, dude. Because I'll use myself as a prime example, dude. Who I am now is not who I was in the military. Who I was in the military is not who I was in as a teenager. And the killer restricting was at 17. I'm selling guns. I'm selling drugs. I am part of a crew within. I'm part of a crew within a gang of doing criminal activity. But that's not who I was, and that's not what I did in the military. And then who I am in the military, and my shortcomings in there is not who and what I am now, right? So I'm glad you brought that up on your own.
Yeah.
And then you said that you help people, the young kids. Do you think who you were in the military would have helped and answered a random call of an individual?
No, probably not.
So it's safe to say you've grown.
Yeah,
and you're different.
For one thing, like failing Ranger School was a humbling experience. Like getting kicked out of Ranger Regiment was a humbling experience for me. It's like, because for a while there, I thought I was like on top of the world, even though I was just at the bottom of the totem pole there. I was like on top of the world in like every other aspect,
Yeah.
So I needed to be humbled for sure. Because in Regiment, as they breed that mentality of like, if you're not a Ranger, then like fuck you, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I was just talking about this. Mike, because we all joke around and shit like that, but somebody asked like, hey, who's the biggest shit talker?
Yeah.
And Mike was like, oh, dude, Green Berets. Green Berets are the biggest shit talkers. We have friends who are Green Berets and stuff like that. So we fuck around. We make jokes, right?
Yeah.
But Mike was like, no, Green Berets hands down are the biggest shit talkers. And then I stepped in and I was like, nah, dude.
No.
Rangers are the biggest shit talkers.
Yeah.
Like, and I've heard this say multiple times. Like, nobody eats their own like Rangers do, and nobody hates on other people like fucking Rangers do, right? And that's just my take. I'm not a fucking SEAL, so maybe it's the SEALs who talk the most shit, or maybe it is the Green Beret, but Green Berets, but but yeah. So I mean, it's safe to say you've grown, right? You've changed, because people would message as things are growing. They're like, if they see pictures of so and so, they're like, oh, you know, so and so did this or that, or only did this, and my thought process is always like, okay, like, people grow. I mean, correction, not all people grow. Let's be honest. There's 22-year-olds right now that are super mature, right? And they're going to grow. And then there's 22-year-olds right now that when they're fucking 40, they're going to be 22-year-olds, right? So not everybody grows, and then some people grow at a faster rate, and then some at a slower rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I try to interact with people based on how they are, right? You've always been cool, right? So Travis was cool, but I can tell you always kept the distance, right? Because, and I've said this, it doesn't matter if you have followers, it doesn't matter if you were soft, it doesn't matter if you're a great shooter. I want great people around OG Pumpkin events. Yeah. There's people at those events that have been there multiple times. They have no following. They have no network connections. They have maybe bought like one shirt of OG Pumpkin, right? So these are people that are buying like thousands of dollars of OG Pumpkin stuff, and they're not even that great shooters. Yeah. But they're just good people. Yeah. They are just super good people, and that's what I want us to be around. But I can tell you had kept your distance, like you, and not even just mine, but I'll talk about my events only, but you would never come to my house and do the UFC fights, or the open mats, or go to Dick's house, and he has, you know, fucking huge, you know, will be 50 fucking Rangers at the beach because of him, or his annual veteran barbecue. So, you know, I can tell you would keep your distance, and you have your reasons, which is why I asked, like, so, you know, what did this Travis thing do to an individual who's would already keep his distance? Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, for me, honestly, I've never like tried to, like I said, I do keep people at arm's length for sure. But I don't necessarily like, I don't always do it on purpose either. You know, sometimes I get pretty easily like overwhelmed and fall into like these big slumps and things like that. I mean, we were kind of talking about it earlier. I mean, this last year has been like crazy, obviously. You know, losing
earlier
a job.
We were talking about mental health and physical fitness and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so like for me, the past like year and a half, I just kind of been trying to get like my mental state right. And like
what have been some issues?
For me, it was I had some hormone imbalances and things like that, and some physical issues. You know, my hip is all fucked up. And I subluxed my shoulder like a year and a half ago. Things like that. You know, but mainly the mind, right? The mental aspect. It's kind of crazy how like you can go from being like pretty mental, like you have to have at least some amount of like mental toughness to get through like any sort of selection, right? Go to RASP or whatever, and then and then later on in life, you would think like as you grow, you get more and more like mentally resilient, but like eventually stuff like wears on you. And to be honest, like a lot of stuff mixed in with like the hormone issues that I was having. A lot of the stuff from like my childhood started catching up to me, you know, things like that. So,
and what have you been doing to you know, maybe work or fix it? Or
so I basically a year and a half ago, I tried to go to one of the National Guard SF their mini selections, right?
Yeah.
But I was just like not mentally there. Like I was just in a complete the way one of the guys explained it was that I was like a shell of a person.
Yeah. So what have you, if anything, been doing to fix that mental health?
Yeah. So those guys ended up pointing me in the direction. They were like, hey, check out Mark Gordon.
Yeah.
And check out the Joe Rogan podcast he was on. So I ended up like watching that podcast later that week, and like everything they talked about, because they also had Andrew Marr on there, who was a Green Beret.
Yeah.
And he'd been, you know, blown up like a million times.
Because
he'd
been Mark Gordon's been there twice, right, on Rogan's?
I think 3 times now.
Three times?
He was on there in January too.
Oh, I gotta check that one out.
Yeah, and I was just talking to him this morning, and he was like, "Yeah, go listen to that one. They did one back in January." So, yeah, that's like their third one. But, anyways, so Andrew Marr had like these his case was obviously like way more drastic. You know,
Yeah.
I've never been blown up. I just like hit my head too many times and like, you know, been in a couple of accidents. But even still, like when I went to get tested, basically I got into Dr. Gordon's program, and he tested all my blood, and pretty much like almost all my hormones were on the lower end of the spectrum. They were like considered normal for normal medicine, but they were like on the lower end. But I had all these symptoms of like depression, anxiety, like all that kind of stuff, right? So he basically put me on all these supplements, and they're literally supplements. I think there's only one prescription that I have, but everything else is literally like over the counter. Like you can get it at the vitamin shop. It's like DHEA and ultra nutrients and things like this. And I just did my second blood work with him like last week, and everything's like high now. It's all up. I feel great. Like my life has actually like changed too, because before I always felt like I was like kind of living at the back of my head, like essentially just like living subconsciously, you know.
For how long? For how long have you been feeling like this?
Probably a couple of years.
After the military.
Okay. Yeah. If you listen to those podcasts with Mark Gordon, he talks about it. Like he talks about how these symptoms of brain trauma and TBI and everything, he talks about those symptoms coming on, like they can come on immediately, then come on 6 months later, then come on years later.
Yeah.
You know, so some of these guys, like they're like I think with Andrew Marr, he got blown up several times, and he didn't even have those symptoms until like a year later or 2 years, a couple of years later or something like that.
Yeah.
So, so for me, it started kicking in probably 2 years ago, and so I was, and it was like gradual for sure. But then I got into a car accident, and then it like went drastically.
Yeah, I think I saw you, and you were fucked up. I can't remember where I saw you.
Oh, that might have been the more recent one, actually, when I got the whiskey glass smashed in my face.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, dude, that was just back in like March or something like that.
I saw you, and I was like, holy shit, dude, your face was swollen, face, purple, blue, and
that one was
got
probably
hit pretty hard.
Worse. Yeah.
Fuck.
That was fun. Yeah, so I just recovered from that not too long ago.
So you have that, and then, you mentioned the childhood stuff. And then has that been helping you mentally, or are you looking for ways to help you mentally?
You know, I kind of tried to go to therapy too, because those same guys that suggested Gordon's program.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, like do whatever you need to do, whether it's therapy, like this or that, like get your mind right, get your body right, you know. And so first thing was getting the mind right. So before I even started Dr. Gordon's program, I started trying to go to therapy. But to me, like therapy is like, it can be really hit or miss.
Yeah.
You know, like I ended up going through the 19th group guys. They like have their own psychologist over there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like I went and talked to him, and he's great, but he was like, yeah, like I have to refer you to somebody else though. Like it's a conflict of interest if I am your therapist or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I ended up going to like this kind of random referral, and I was just like, I was just not feeling it. Yeah, I did one session. I was like, I just like, this is weird, you know? But for me, like I have some really, really close friends, my absolute closest friends that like I can literally talk to them about anything, and they're essentially my therapy. And then on top of that, you know, the community that I've kind of been involved with, especially like the deep end fitness guys, and underwater torpedo, like that's been a huge help for me too.
The guys and doing the stuff.
Yeah, because like not only is like the pool and like doing breath work very therapeutic in itself, but like the people that are involved there are just like, they're very like-minded individuals, and it's really cool too, because not all of them are veterans, not all of them are military, but they all have this same what we call the warrior class mentality. Like
it's a mindset.
Yeah, it's a mindset. Like you don't have to have been a Green Beret or been a Ranger or whatever to have that mindset, right? Like there's business owners that have that mindset, and they've never served a day in their life, but they go out and they get after it, you know what I mean? Or there's like extreme sports people.
You guys have some UFC fighters and
yeah,
other
we have
professional
UFC fighters. Yeah, Dominic Cruz swims with some of the guys down in San Diego.
Yeah, I've seen some, not just deep water fitness posts, but the fighters themselves, because I follow a bunch of fighters, and then I'll be like, another one. And dude, it makes me super happy that it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Liz Carmucci is literally like an instructor for us now, because she loves it so much.
And then right now, are you an instructor or just?
Yeah, I'm an instructor. I don't really have like my own pool. I usually just assist at some of the other ones, because I'm gone too much. I can't run my own pool. You know, I'm back and forth and everything. So eventually, I'd love to have my own pool, but right now I'm pretty happy just going out to the pool, assisting the other instructors and stuff. So, yeah. Nice,
man. And dude, well, I'm happy that you're doing the Mark Gordon thing. Like I said, at the time, I tried, you know, I tried it, but I wasn't, OG Pumpkin wasn't a thing. Defense strategies wasn't a thing. So I said, you know, I don't have the money for this. But you mentioned something that's very important that I think might help a lot of people. If they're interested in something like that, who's the foundation that they could maybe get in touch that might help?
Yeah, the Warrior Angel Foundation, I believe it's called. They will help fund it, because as of right now, Dr. Gordon's program, like they unfortunately can't get it covered by insurance. Insurance won't cover it, so you have to pay out of pocket. It's not terribly expensive, but it costs money. It still costs money.
And I'm finding out that, I mean, from what I'm seeing, is that like a lot of people, veterans, if they really want to improve physically and mentally, more mentally than anything, they kind of have to pay out of pocket. You know, the VA. You were talking about, you know, injuries, and I was talking about injuries, like, and to see a athletic trainer, you know, or that would help you strengthen the muscles around your knees. You know, we all had knee and back issues, but let's face it, if you stop working out and and keep eating because you're sad, and then
Yeah.
you gain a pound or two, and then you start adding weight. If you already have a fucked up back, and you're adding more weight because you're gaining more weight, you're eating, most likely it's because eating gives you, well, not eating makes you feel happy, right?
Right.
If you're not doing physical fitness and you're eating a lot, then you're adding more weight to your fucked up back, and it's only making the issue worse when people don't want to hear it, or maybe they don't know. But what's going to help a messed up back or a knee is strengthening what you have.
Yeah.
And it won't make you feel brand fucking new like you're some 18-year-old, but it'll improve.
Yeah.
Right. And to do that stuff, the VA doesn't have that for us, right? Us coming from special operations units, we used to have that in our gyms, and we get out and we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Because you were at what, 275?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at 175, dude, we would have athletic trainers, sports psychologists, physical therapists in our gyms, and they would have their own offices, and if we needed work, we would just go to them and they would fix us.
Yep.
But you go out and the VA doesn't have that for us, or for even dudes who aren't special operation dudes. And a bunch of people are paying out of pocket and or looking for other ways. And something that's helped me a lot, and any chance that I get, I'm going to talk about it, is psychedelics. I was, when I got out, I wanted to continue my success in the military out, right? I was nutrition. I think, and this is what people need to do, and there's enough science behind everything that I'm about to talk about that people need to do. It's not just one thing. I'm a big believer that it's not one thing.
It's never just one thing.
Even me going to school to become a registered dietitian, I am not going to tell you that nutrition is everything. No, nutrition is one part of it. Then you have sleep, right? Then you have physical fitness. You have to work out. I'm not saying you have to go run a Spartan race or work out until you can be at the CrossFit Games, or even train like how I do martial arts to be a UFC fighter, like that hard. You just have to do something, right? And sleep, proper sleep. Your body is recovering and making more hormones, and that's what it needs to do, right? But if you don't have, and other stuff, all these chemical reactions are gonna help your body recover, rebuild, all that. And you need your hours of sleep. You need community for your mental health. And I was doing everything, and something was off. And Mike told me about his experience with ketamine. And he'd been telling me he did 6 sessions, and he told me with Field Trip Health, who gets to use ketamine because ketamine is illegal. So it's a clinical setting. They have therapists there. And I did DMT twice, and then I did a bunch of mushrooms, and for a whole year this is what I was doing, right? But before that, I wasn't ready for psychedelics. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't want to do it. I would hear people say like, oh, if you do psychedelics, these crazy nightmares are gonna happen and shit that you don't want to ever think about, or you're gonna kill yourself. Or somebody messaged me, put a picture up with mushrooms. They're like, be careful, because my uncle did mushrooms and he killed himself. And it's, did he do mushrooms and he killed himself? That might be a real statement, but most likely your uncle had mental health issues and he did mushrooms, because in the history of human beings who've done mushrooms, if everybody, or at least half the people who did mushrooms killed themselves, there would be, I'd say to say, millions. Who millions of people who should be dead, right? But what it is, it's not that mushrooms or psychedelics will make you kill yourself. It's dude, bad things probably happen. I mean, I haven't done all the psychedelics. More and more people are doing it, and the really cool group. I there's like layers of friends, right? You have your really close friends, and then you have people that you kind of consider your friends, but you don't maybe hang out all the time every day. And then you have like acquaintances and stuff like that. And the very core group of individuals who I'm surrounding myself with, and I didn't know this until we started hanging out more and more and more. And I'm like, why is it that we all somehow we get along so well and so easily, effortlessly? We have to put the time in to make the drive, because none of us live close, and California traffic sucks. And it turns out we all did psychedelics. And not just like we did at one point, we're doing psychedelics. So Mike talked about this, and I was scared. I was nervous, but they sponsored a portion of an OG Pumpkin event. They gave they talked about it, and I said I was ready, and so did another ranger, Pierce. So so we went, man. And the way it works is it's not just like, hey, let's get high and that's it. It's you do therapy. It's because of Zoom. You do Zoom therapy. Zoom therapy. The trip session, they call it a journey. The journey, therapy, the journey, and then therapy again. Right. So they asked because I felt like something was off. Right. I'm being successful in school. I'm getting A's and B's. My degrees is going along. Everything's going pretty well. Okay, it's good, but things can get better, right? But more specifically, not like work or school, but my relationships with individuals and my relationship within myself and how I see the world. I felt could have improved. And once I started doing psychedelics, it started helping a little bit. So I was like, well, maybe the way Mike explains it, I should do it. Because have you ever heard Mike speak on how he used to be?
No, I haven't actually.
Because I kind of talked about it, but I didn't go into great detail. But he used to be a very angry individual. Things didn't really make him happy, and he would do things. And when he would tell me the stories of the things he would do, like let's say in traffic or at the bars or whatever, dude, that person didn't match Mike. There's no way it was the same person.
Yeah.
I refused to say like, you're fucking dude, I believe you. Yeah, you would do that. No, you wouldn't do that because that's not the Mike I know. Yeah. And he said he did 6 sessions of this, right? Plus everything that I said: nutrition, sleep, physical fitness, finding a community. But he said the ketamine really helped him. So Mike was there. He's like, I'll go there with you. I won't trip. I won't do the journey, but I'll go there with you. And we did the therapy, and he and the therapist Matt was like, hey, what do you want out of this? Because I think there's a big difference between doing psychedelics like to get high, and then there's a difference between going into it wanting to be a better individual. Yeah. And I said, well, I want to be a better human being. And he said, what does that look like? So then I answered that. And then he said, what would that do for your life? I answered that. And then he said, what would that do for the relationships that you have on a daily basis? And then I answered that, and I remember thinking like, oh fuck, like each time we're getting deeper and deeper into basically the same question, right? What I want out of this, and right before we did it, he asked me, sometimes you don't get what you're asking, you get what you need. And he said you'll think about memories that you haven't thought about in a long time, and it's not necessarily like, oh fuck, trauma. It's like it's just memories, right? For example, some of the memories were, I remember like if I was there playing with plastic green soldiers in the dirt, making trenches, making them fight. Yeah. Like I was fucking there, like the day, like now, like this is happening now. And then Power Rangers and playing with them, and I'm like, oh fuck, dude, like I had not thought about that in a long, long time. The trip was intense. At one point I thought I had died, but I wasn't scared. I was like, well, this is what happens when you die, because it was so powerful that I had forgotten that I was in Santa Monica. Michael's right next to me. Piers is in front of me. I'm surrounded by the physical examiner and the therapist, right? Yeah. Because we're doing this as a group, I had totally forgot about that. All I thought about was my family, and I didn't get like codes or secrets of things to do or things to start doing or things not to do. I thought about my family. I thought about how I wish I would have done this or that. I wish I would have let them know what they truly meant and that and how I feel about certain things that I didn't. I kind of had an idea that I felt like that, but I didn't know how strong I felt like that, right? Yeah. I told my wife, we're about to hit 12 years married, and this is after the journey, the next morning. And to be honest, who I am now is not the husband you got out 12 years. I'm sorry, but that's not who you got, and I see that now that it wasn't fair. and I miss a lot of the kids' life, and I knew that, but I didn't know how much I didn't like that,
Yeah.
and that I want to get to know my kids. My son is 9 and my daughter's 7, and I don't know them like I know my 3-year-old or my 2-year-old. My 2-year-old is I was there when she was born. I know all the little things that make her her. Right? We're all humans here,
Yeah.
but there's certain things that make Chris that I don't do. You know, and same with me. And I know that for my daughter, but I don't really know that for my oldest and my middle kid, right? So
Yeah.
in the parking lot of that place, I turn around and I look at my son and my daughter, and I tell them, I wasn't there when you guys were born, and I wasn't there for a lot of you guys' life, and I know I didn't like it, but I didn't know how much I didn't like that until now. I want to get to know you guys. And meanwhile, my son, his eyes are getting red. He wants to cry. I told him we can play video games and we can watch TV, but I want to do things that make you you. And he said, I'm glad you're saying this. And my son's 9, dude.
Yeah.
So, and he starts crying. I get out of my car because I'm the passenger seat. I go, I hug him. I hug my daughter. My wife's crying. And ever since then, dude, my wife and I have been closer. I've known my wife since I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
But we've been closer. Not that we haven't been close, but we've been closer ever since the experience, those 2 journeys. And my son, dude, I would say when he was young, I used to sit right next to him, and then he would scoot over. Yeah. And then Elliot would be like, he just wants space. And I would tell her like, and I would like, oh, he probably just wants space. No, man, it's like there was a distance. Just because he's a child doesn't make him stupid or dumb. He knows he doesn't really know me, and I don't really know him, and he's always been apart, dude. Now, the other day we were watching a movie and he sits right next to me, and not just right next to me, but fucking right, like we're shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, and we're closer than ever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's almost like a rewiring, man. Like I had 2 bags of mushrooms at my house. They rotted because I didn't feel like I needed them.
Yeah.
And then I went to go have a steak that week, and I always have red wine with my steak. They're like, do you want anything to drink? And I was like, no. And I realized, oh shit, dude, I don't want to drink.
Yeah.
Nothing against drinking. It's just I didn't want to drink. And then I'm also doing other stuff that I would do because Anelia told me to do them. Now I pay attention. Like, hey man, don't leave your clothes, your sweaty gym clothes, on the floor. Put them away. I would take a shower, change, answer emails, play with my kids, and Anelia would be like, hey, the clothes. And I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that stuff, and I know like, hey, that doesn't belong there. Go put it where it belongs, and then stuff like that, you know. And then because I'm not thinking, oh, Annelia's gonna tell me something. I'm thinking that's the right thing to do. Yeah. And when I have conversations with people, I've been like that, but even more so, I am more actively listening, and I care about what people are saying. And on the same rate, I find myself not even wanting to hang out with certain people or go to certain areas because I'm just like, time is valuable, and what you guys are doing, that's cool for you guys, but I don't want to be around it at all.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of the same thing for me with like the hormone issue, right? So like I was saying, I was kind of like, I felt like I was like living subconsciously, right? And so I'd be talking to people, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, wait, we just talked for like an hour and I have no idea what we just talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you said because it just went right through me because I was just at the back of my mind, you know? And I like, it's funny too, because like I was talking to Dr. Gordon for the first time, and he was like, do you feel dumber? And I was like, actually, yeah, I kind of do. I feel dumber.
Yeah.
Like I feel stupid. You know what I mean? And I know I'm not a stupid person. So it's like literally one of the symptoms is like feeling dumb. Like
explain this, because some people might be like, well, I'm not gonna do this.
Well, I think it's more of like the clarity of mind too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, your hormones and vitamins and nutrients and all these things like make the brain function, obviously. So it's just like clarity of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have that clarity of mind, like you can think through things a little bit easier, you know what I mean, or pick up on conversations and not just like have them go like in one ear and out the other. You know what I mean?
But how does that make you feel dumb though?
Well, by not having like that clarity, like I literally can't think of like anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can't organize myself. I can't sit down and read a book. I can't sit down and write a paper,
Uh-huh.
or things like that, you know what I mean? It's just really crazy when you got like I can't exactly like regurgitate all the exact science behind it. You gotta talk to Dr. Gordon or listen to his podcast. But like
I did. I listened to both, and dude, so me going to school to become a registered dietitian, I didn't know this, but you have to take a lot of chemistry classes.
Mhm.
I thought I was like, okay, I'll probably take maybe a few biology classes, maybe a bunch of nutrition classes, and I print out my career, my education counselor printed out all the classes I would have to take, and it's like pre-chem, chemistry, organic chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to tell people at the time, you know, my mindset. I was like, I'm just trying to tell people eat a fucking salad. Why do I have to take all this?
Yeah.
And then it didn't make sense. So I like what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
When I've listened to the last two, I didn't know he was on there 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
When I've listened to the last two, a lot of the stuff was making sense because for our advanced nutrition courses, it's all hormones.
Yeah.
Right, and well, you can't build this stuff without the proper nutrients, and people focus so much on the macronutrients, as in the protein, carbs, and fats. It's the micronutrients that come from fruits and vegetables, and it comes from other stuff that just not just necessarily protein, but like meats and stuff like that. Anyways, it's very important, right, for hormones, and then that's what brought to me the idea of like, oh shit, hormones are super important, not just like the main ones that we know, like testosterone. So when he was talking about that, I was like, oh yeah, like he's right, you know. So I that's why I had you talk about it. I
mean, like my free testosterone wasn't the only thing that was relatively low, and like I said, I was in the normal scale, but I was on the low end, right? And so the testosterone was just like one of probably 10 different hormones that was out of whack, you know.
So what's next for you then?
Oh, I'm pretty much just continuing on his protocol, just taking these supplements, and I'll continue to basically send him reports on it, do blood work every now and again, and just see where we're at. But that on top of, like, I can tell you right now, that's not the only thing that I do too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Fitness is huge, community is huge, and then also just challenging myself is a big part of it too, a big part of the mental health aspect, I guess, because man, like, if you don't challenge yourself, like, there's no growth and there's no change. Like that stagnant feeling just happens, and when you get stagnant, like that's when you get depressed. That's when you like don't feel good.
That's
yourself,
I think because people don't challenge themselves physically, mentally, it's not everything, but it's a big portion on why people feel negative. Not just like depressed, you know, but like maybe angry about where they're at in their life and stuff like that. Dude, physical fitness and all that stuff is so important. All the good stuff in the world requires work. It's not free.
Because even when I was on this protocol last year, there was a point where I stopped going to the pool, and then all the gyms were closed, and I was like trying to work out at home, and then I kind of just stopped working out at home, and so essentially I stopped working out for like several months, but I was still on this protocol, Dr. Gordon's protocol, and I started kind of feeling like crap again, and I got back into that slump, and then eventually I started getting back out of the pool, you know, my roommates convinced me to get back to the pool, and then I started getting back to the gym once they opened up and stuff, and then kind of slowly came back, and like and now it's like I'm consistent again. I'm back on it. So on top of the protocol, like the fitness and the challenging and all that stuff, like,
and being part of
all
deep water fitness.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Deep water fitness.
Deep end fitness.
Deep end.
Fitness,
I knew it.
yeah.
I was like, dude, I feel like you're not saying this right.
Yeah.
Deep end fitness.
Yeah.
It's very important to get the name right, because one, I mean, that's what they're called.
Yeah.
And then if people want to find it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to be like, deep water, dude. Can't fucking find deep water.
Yeah. No, deep end fitness is a huge one, especially because it's so much breath work.
Yeah.
That you go underwater, and immediately your brain starts to tell you like, hey, I need oxygen.
Yeah.
I need oxygen. But like it's really hard to explain, but actually, so one time I was doing the tier 2 instructor course, right? And we had to do a 50-meter underwater crossover, and I hadn't done that since I was like 7 years old, right?
Yeah.
Used to do it all the time when I was a kid, but hadn't done it in a long time. And that particular day, I was stressed out. Like, I came in and like my whole body was just tight, my mind was just foggy, and I got in the pool, and Rick and Prime, to the main guys with the company, they're heading the course, and the 50-meter underwater crossover was like the last thing we had to do, and everybody did it and passed it on their first try, and I went to go do it, and I make it 25 meters and then start swimming back, and about halfway through I start coming back up, and I started like panicking in my head.
Yeah.
And then I popped back up. I popped out of the water to get a breath, and so I didn't make the 50 meters, and I was like, man, what the hell? Like, and then I hit the wall, and Rick just kind of like talked to me, and he's like, hey man, I can literally see the stress in your body as you're swimming across the pool, like underwater. Like, I can literally see it in your shoulders, in your back, like everything. He's like, whatever's going on, leave it outside the pool and just swim. Just do it.
And was there something going on?
Yeah, at the time I was just really stressed between work and the National Guard. I'd actually, like, in order to go to that course, I had skipped out from the National Guard, and like I'd gotten a little bit of trouble for it, but on my drill, but I was like, well, this is my moneymaker.
Yeah.
The National Guard doesn't pay me anymore, so anyways, I went to go try it again, and I get across, and about halfway back again, I start coming up, and I kind of started getting that feeling again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, something just clicked in my head, and I was like, why am I panicking? Why am I swimming faster? Like, because you're doing like these slow, easy movements, and then all of a sudden you like start like freaking out, and you're doing these fast movements. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
And I slowed my movements back down, and I stayed under, and I hit the 50 meters, and I came up, and I was like it was just so hard to like explain the mental breakthrough. It was like your brain is just telling you no, and you had to like fight through it and be like,
and Rick helped you out with that.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm glad they're doing stuff like that, because where people spend their time and money is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you want to just get an ass kicking of a workout, you can go to almost any of these fucking CrossFit gyms or whatever, but when you find a place that gives you a serious workout, it helps you mentally, and they, instead of just easily just telling you, dude, fucking man up, man, you can do it.
Yeah.
But helping you mentally, your mental health, and bringing community, because I mean, I've never been to an event, but it looks like you guys have a good community going on there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like I said, it attracts to like that certain mentality of person, right? Like just going to the gym doesn't necessarily bring in that type of person.
No.
You can go, it's pretty easy these days for people to just be like, hey, it's my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna go to the gym and work out. You
Yeah.
know, but people won't be like, oh, it's my New Year's resolution to get in the pool and almost fucking drown. You know? like that's not their New Year's resolution. So it takes a certain mentality to get in the pool with us for sure. And so it attracts all the right people, and all of these people just want to be better and do better, and it's.
And
it's
since
just
you
a really
said,
cool thing.
sorry to cut you off, but because it's in the back of my mind, since you said you're an assistant instructor here, or an instructor over there, what's happening now, man? To bring it back with the whole Travis thing, has that been affected? Because I bring it up because of the witch hunt, right?
Yeah.
What you said is that a bunch of stuff that you said is still in my mind. I don't want to forget it. But the witch hunt, right? So what? Because I'm guessing no, I'm not guessing. I know the fucking witch hunt went towards you.
Yeah.
Did it affect you in there?
Luckily, not in that case. First off, everybody in that community, they really only know me. I did end up bringing Travis to the session one time.
Yeah.
But
The motherfucker even got there.
Yeah, it was just like, it was weird. He like barely even swam with us. He was just like standoffish and stuff. And then, but anyways, yeah. Luckily, I didn't bring him into that community very much, so it didn't affect too much over there. It was more so, I guess, just on the people that follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
People that follow him on Instagram.
Dude, what is your take on, because the community on social media is a thing. It's not a thing if you don't have a Instagram, if you don't have a phone.
Yeah.
But it's a thing. It's like it's its own life networking thing that all of us visit on a daily basis. So right, what is your take on the community that you see as a whole, with everything, not just you, but I'm saying like companies and stuff like that, and what's going on?
Well, it's like I said earlier, like Instagram is, for me, is very much a love-hate thing. Right? I've met some of the best people on there, and I've also met some of the fake, shitty people on
like
there.
what?
You know
Like
what I
how?
mean?
No,
Like,
we don't have to go into detail the names, but like
Yeah.
what are the stuff you've seen besides Travis?
It's just like you're following all these like big influencers, and then you start meeting people that know that person, or they know this person, and then you start hearing like the stories of like how these people actually are and what they've actually done, and you're like, man, these people are fake.
Yeah.
You know? Like the majority of these people are fake as fuck.
Dude,
you know? It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's the dudes that do have all the experience and all the special operations experience, but guess what?
Dude, we're
They're shitty ass
we're gonna
person.
go into great detail with this, but I gotta take a piss. And here, dude, we don't cut the pot. If you gotta go pee, you go pee, dude.
Okay.
I'm not one of those dudes like, oh, podcast is over, guys, because you gotta pee. No, but we got bladders and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So fucking talk to Ryan real quick. Ask him a question.
Yeah.
Bathroom breaks are always fun, huh?
You can always chop it up, right? Chop up the audio.
It's all good. What exercises are you doing in the pool? I'm new to all this.
So we do, in a sense, like part of it's almost like CrossFit in the pool. We do like little WODs, and it's like, you'll do like push-ups on one side of the pool, and then do a 25-meter sprint to the other side, and then do flutter kicks over there, and then you're going to do a 25-meter underwater crossover, so you hold your breath all the way across, and then you're going to do air squats on the other side again, and then so we just like build these awesome workouts, and they're usually about like 20-30 minute workouts, and then the majority of the time we actually play underwater torpedo. So essentially you have two nets at the bottom of the pool on either side, and then you have those little torpedoes that you used to play with as a kid, right? So they actually own the patent on that now. The goal is to get the torpedo in the net at the bottom of the pool, right? And we're playing in 12 foot pool, right?
It's like competition size
Yeah, like competition pools. And so you got like five on five, and you basically, the torpedo has to stay underwater. So if you have it in your hand, you have to stay underwater. So if you need to go up for a breath, you got to pass it off. You got to pass the torpedo to one of your teammates. And then on top of that, if you have the torpedo, the other team can basically grapple you underwater. So we actually like teach some like grappling techniques, kind of, just like very basic stuff, because it's very different underwater. But getting the hooks in the legs, and then they can't really swim anywhere, and then getting wrist control, and then you're trying to tear the torpedo out of their hands. But yeah, you basically do that, and sometimes people will literally just like they're both holding onto the torpedo, and they'll just sit there and see who can hold their breath longer. and then one of them will let go and drop it, and then you just swim into the net with it. So, but yeah, that's the basic gist of it. So no, just swimsuit and goggles, and you got your little torpedo. So yeah,
dude,
it's fun.
I think this is very important to talk about for multiple reasons, right? The community, because if you're going to the online community and in-person community, because if you're going to start any type of company, clothing company, a gear company, a whatever, you're going to be part of this community, like the online community, this big one, right? Also, for the dudes, in the way that you are helping guys going into military, the more people that talk about what's happening now is what will prepare the dudes coming out. Because I've talked to Mike, and Mike has been fucked over by, because they take advantage of not just special operation guys, but they want to use the soft name, or they want to use a soft image,
right? Or
they just want to or in military in general, right? They take advantage of it. And I've had, since I gone out, dude, I've seen things that I'm like, dude, like, this fucking sucks. Like, I didn't know it was like that. And that's why when people read comments on like, dude, this community is shit, like, I agree, not everybody, but I don't like to blanket statement everybody or a thing, but what they're saying is, or at least I hope that's what they're saying, is that there's a lot of shitty people and there's a lot of fakes. And I know companies that host one event, they've hosted only one, and in their bio will say for veterans, and they'll be like, we support veterans. And it's like, you did one thing and you just want to keep it on there, so you're like, oh well, I like this company, they help veterans, I will give them my money. And fake people, right? Like, for example, I had somebody tell me, this is before I started OG Pumpkin, right? I had somebody tell me, you don't want to start a clothing company. There's too many of them. And I gave them an idea that, like, it's not, that's a really niche thing. And I remember thinking, like, you own a clothing company. Like, why are you saying no? Like, right? Meanwhile, we're at now 107 people who have tattooed an OG Pumpkin event. I mean, OG Pumpkin design. I'm sorry. 107 people have tattooed an OG Pumpkin design. It is, and ranging people from active soft, regular Army guys, cops, firefighters. It's everywhere, right? So people will discourage you to do things, to start a nonprofit, to start a clothing company, to start a gear company, and this is people within the community, within the industry. They're not all like that, but some of them do. I had somebody tell me, and then once I was rolling the wheels, they're like, oh, you don't want to do skull and nods. It's played out. Everybody does it. And that's, they're fucking, they do that. And it's like, bro, you just told me not to do it. Everybody does it. We met and you clowned on that for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're selling that.
Yeah.
And then just recently, somebody, and I can talk about this. I told fucking, I told him I was gonna clown on these people any chance I got.
Yeah.
But they sent an email, to my friend's company, very close friend,
Yeah.
like to apologize. But before that, they had their lawyer send him a cease and desist for a certain design, and them too were using the nods and the fucking skull. How many companies, shirts or like unit fucking logos, designs, cool raw patches that we make use a fucking skull? How many are there?
Tons. Thousands.
Thousands, right?
Probably hundreds of thousands.
And how fucking stupid is it that this company has a fucking their lawyer send it to my friend to be like, hey, cease and desist. This nods and skull design, you're copying us. What the fuck, dude? Like,
Yeah.
and then I haven't talked to my friend in person. I'm gonna talk to him in person soon, this week, tomorrow actually, and we're gonna. I want to see what the apology was, but it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, we are our own. And then I looked into this company, and it's this fucking cookie cutter. They have hundreds of thousands of followers. It's cookie cutter fucking designs with models and fucking jack dudes, right?
Yeah.
And they're not saying it, but it's the look of fucking soft.
Yeah.
Chances are they're not fucking soft. And we go back to this fucking image within the community, all the gear dudes, and I love the community though, because that's how I met Benji. That's how I met Mike. That's how I meet a lot of people. That's how I've helped a lot of people. And that's how I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, it's a love-hate thing. You meet some of these people, and it turns out that they're not who they say they are.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of toxicity in there too. But then you also meet like some of the best people, like you, man.
Dude,
like,
what was
you're literally probably one of the most genuine people I've met off of Instagram.
But what was your honest opinion when you first heard of me or met me?
Well, I actually first heard of you through a buddy of mine, and he was talking shit, but I was like, I never take his opinion seriously anymore, and I was just like, I'm gonna meet him for myself, like that's actually how I try to approach everything, because like I said, the community it can be very toxic, and sometimes they can they'll just talk shit on people just to talk shit on people, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I am careful about who I'm trying to be more careful about who I trust and who I let in. But at the same time, I'm also going to judge somebody for myself. I'm not going to take anybody's word.
And then after you came, because the event was the first time, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of that day, of what was happening and myself, but more importantly, what you saw there?
What I saw there was real community. That's all it was. You know what I mean?
What did you see?
It wasn't like this, it wasn't like an influencer gathering or anything. Most of the people there were all just like normal people. It actually very much reminds me of the community we have with Deep End Fitness, where it's just you're just attracting that same mindset of person. Sometimes there's those ones that slip in cracks, and
then so that's the first one, and then after, because you've been to how many events at this point?
I think at least 3.
And then
I think 3.
And then it's growing.
Yeah.
And then what is your now opinion?
I mean, it's. I don't even know how to explain it. Like,
because you even have a more unique perspective. One,
Yeah.
everyone's perspective is important, but this time you started off with a negative, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you easily could be like, well, fuck this guy,
Yeah.
and fuck the community that he's trying to, or not even community, what he's doing.
Yeah.
But then you come to multiple events, and you've
I'm like,
seen it
Yeah.
from where we first started.
Well, so first off, I'll tell you right now that friend of mine, I'm not friends anymore. Let's just put it that way, because he was that type of person. He was that toxic mindset, you know. And it was like that with everybody, everything. There was always some shit to be talking, and but
it happens to a lot, dude. Like
literally after the first time I met you, I was like, I knew that guy was full of shit. Like, I knew he was just talking out of his ass, because I had already been starting to catch on to the behavior and stuff. So I was super glad that, like, I decided, you know, to meet you for myself. And definitely, like, as time's gone on, I've just come to realize that you are absolutely by far one of the most genuine people on Instagram, in my opinion, that I've met through there. And I mean that. Just the fact that you give back to the community so much, and you really don't make a dime off of them. You know what I mean? Which is exactly what Travis was doing. You know?
Yeah. He was making, it's safe to say, thousands of dollars off everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's even more that came to light afterwards too. With a couple, there's a little group of us that we were trying to do. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we were trying to do some work, and you know, Travis was part of that, and you know, we were trying to acquire gear and things that we needed,
yeah,
right? Money and all this stuff, and it turned out that he had actually been selling some of the gear and things that we were acquiring for our group.
Yeah.
He had just been selling it. He'd been getting free shit from
expensive shit. We're not talking like stickers and shirts.
Expensive shit, and he was selling it.
Yeah.
To make a buck. And even one of the guys on the team paid for several items, and Travis just happened to have possession of it. And he sold that too.
Yeah.
And it was just like it just like snowballed after the truth came out. After it was like, okay, he is a fraud. Like, I knew for sure that there was no doubt.
Yeah.
You know. After that, it just snowballed. After that, and we started finding out so much more. I mean, one of my buddies started getting all these messages from a bunch of girls that he just like terrorized mentally, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, he's not an advocate for mental health.
Well, somebody who goes that deep, there's a level of there's levels to this mental health issue thing, right? So there's, for example, if an old man kind of wears like a Green Beret fucking jacket, only like at the local bar that we've seen, you know, like he's so and so fake, and you see a picture, you're like, oh, that's so fake. The uniform's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? That's wrong. But to then go on social media and say you're a Green Beret and do lives and be part of big projects, and to do that, that's even next level. So to say he's, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. No, he definitely burned a lot of people. I mean, the fact that he gained like 40,000 followers based off of that lie, you know, and
well, not just that, dude, but like, dude, I take it personal, like, but not everything was cool until he became a fake, and then it just it's fucking super personal hard.
Yeah.
And well, enough on that, but and then when companies go, like Mike dove into this when he's like, dude, the fucking irony that they have you right here and they go with fucking him, like all these companies. And I'm like, well, dude, I'm not like, oh, I couldn't want to do the big projects, but I'm like, it frustrates me because, again, dude, like, since how did I gain a lot of the following? Because I'm fucking small, and college kids and high school kids were asking me like, hey man, no offense, but you're small, so how did you get in special operations? And then I talk about mental toughness and this and this and this and that. And so that on its own, it's like, you know, I've been dealing with this for a long time, so it frustrates me when a fake gets these big contracts with these companies and fucks over the community that I hold so dear and I've done so much work. Not just myself, a lot of us. I just had Dick and Dick, Dick and Eric, and Dick's been putting mad fucking hours, not even hours, years into building something in Southern California. And he talked about how when it started, dude, and like doing events and maybe having like 4 people show up or like nobody fucking show up. And he easily could have been like, fuck this, I'm not gonna put my energy. But he just kept doing it, and one of the last Ranger panties at the beach that we had, that wasn't just only Rangers. It was he's extended the invitation to not just any veteran. Dude, there was 50 of us. That's just dudes. We all had our wives and kids and girlfriends or whatever, you know. And he put fucking mad hours. So like when we put a lot of time to build this and shit like that happens, dude, it frustrates me.
It's I don't know. It's still very like shocking to me because it's the first time that I've ever been involved with somebody that was such a big fraud. And I'm just like, holy shit! Like I really the reason it shocked me so much, or it really made me feel sick, is just knowing the fact that I could let somebody into my life that was like that. You know what I mean? Dude,
but you shouldn't, I mean, yes, I mean, you shouldn't feel bad, like down yourself like so much. I just saw, did you see the movie on the comedian who got fooled? It's on Netflix. Elijah, she's a comedian. Her last name I can't fucking pronounce because she got married. I think he's German. I can't even pronounce or spell it. But Elijah's a comedian, and a very sad story that she went and told on Joe Rogan is now a movie, and it's like number 1, if not 2, in the country right now on Netflix. Some guy made this fake thing that he went to, I don't want to butcher the story, but he went to Yale, that he was a businessman, and if you haven't seen the movie, I won't give too much on it, not just for you, but for the listeners. And it was all fake. And he was just your friend. They were together. And a fraud. You know, so like this, it's a thing. And yeah, man, people should watch out for it. And dude, before I forget, there's, like you said, people creep in, right? And people will continue to try to infiltrate the community. They will try to fucking make money off of this. And I've been saying this from day one. This community is I'm part of it, so it means a lot to me. But we've seen companies, big companies, fuck over this community for a long time. And I thought I didn't even think about within and then with ourselves doing it. But for example, what I mean is, when I got in 2008, there wasn't veterans, and even because now even some of the active guys are getting into this, producing great quality products like how they're doing now that we want to buy. We only had one of the big ones like 511 or Blackhawk, right? That's all. That was our only option. And they would do this fucking bullshit veteran tribute. They'd be like, for veterans, we're giving you 10% off. And we're like, you are our only option. When I go overseas, the only jackets I can buy are 511 at the PX in Afghanistan and Iraq. The supplement companies, because they have the contracts or however it works, it was what was that supplement company? It was the only one overseas.
Metrics or something? Is that the one?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
With the NO Explode and all that.
Yeah.
There was a few other
Yeah.
ones. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure now there's even more. But they were our only option, and they would fucking, because they know on the 1st and the 15th we get paid.
Yeah.
What other population out here gets paid no matter what on the 1st and the 15th? You can be fucking sick, you can be in the hospital, but on the 1st and the 15th, if you're active duty, you're gonna get a fucking paycheck.
Yeah.
And they know this. These companies know this,
Yeah.
right? So, if you have 1 million followers, but a lot of them are kids, high school kids or college kids, those aren't really, they're not really rich or have money to spend like that, right? But if you only have, like, let's say 35,000 veterans and active duty guys, well, that's 35,000 people that are gonna that got checks coming in no matter fucking what,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So these companies, so these people are gonna know this, and they're gonna weasel themselves in, right? Like Travis, and then he started his company, and then his company gained popularity really quick, right?
Yeah.
The Live Fast. I know my numbers for OG Pumpkin, and he has double or triple the numbers. So I know, I know my numbers, how much the company makes.
Right.
So I know he was making 2 or 3 times as much as I was on
Yeah.
that alone, not even the shit he was selling and stuff like that.
Right.
And then you also said something on how your friend was very negative and very, or your former friend. And that's a thing in the military veteran fucking thing community, dude.
Yeah.
I would go to the VRC, the Veteran Resource Center, at my school, and it would be the same fucking group of dudes complaining and bitching about everything,
Yeah.
day in and day out, and some of them were complaining about people who complain, right? So the military steers a certain way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they would complain about the fucking left, that all they do is complain. And I remember just thinking, like, dude, I come in here in between class and you're complaining day in and day out about people who complain. Like, do you not fucking see what you're doing? Or they
Yeah.
would complain about the class or the professor or whatever. So, like,
Yeah.
and then we go back to mental health.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people fit certain categories. Like, they don't look like they're working out, so because physical fitness helps. They don't look like they're taking their nutrition properly. They're not taking their sleep properly. They're not taking their community of who they surround themselves with properly, and they're not seeking mental health for what may or may not have happened. I mean, not have happened, happened in the military.
Right. Yeah. It's. I mean, so ironically, the dude that I was talking about was also a ranger, and
Yeah.
part of the reason I stayed friends with him for so long was because he's another ranger in SoCal that I can hang out with, right? And something that I like kind of learned recently is just that it doesn't matter what your title is, or what you've done. Like, if you're not a good person now, then I don't want anything to do with you. You know what I mean? There's actually Fogg posted that one little article. I don't know if you saw that. It was like, but some dude was like saying, nobody here gives a fuck who you were before. Essentially,
It's like,
right?
and people even say things, but they have to fucking mean it, though, right? You can't give an image that you're something, that everything, you're all soft, and then say shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about forward observations specifically. I'm talking about everybody, the community, right?
Yeah. Right.
You have to act like that.
Yeah.
Whether you're a business or whether you're a person.
Yeah.
And for example, Eric is one of my closest friends. Eric the Marine. Did you meet him at the? Were you there when he backflipped off the car and shot? Yeah. So a lot of people don't know at the vehicle ranges that my company hosts for free for veterans. But lately, I've been charging people and giving them money to the food banks or whatever. And then this last one is going to go to Hero Games charity, which, if you don't know, they they host events, and the money they earn, they give it to the dead soldier members' family. But more importantly, they fly them out, and they cover everything to give them an experience, not just give them money, right? Because they don't fucking want money. Let's face it, their loved one is dead. They want real community and real support, and so in Hero Games, I was there. I've been there 2 years already, and I see it, man. They fly them out, and they don't just like, hey, oh, sorry for your loss, and let's take a picture and send you out on your way. No. It's like, hey, like, how can we help you? You know, I got kids, you have kids. Let's let them play. We want to bring you out here again. You know, where do you live? We'll go out there, and I have friends. And if you live over there, what do you need? If you need anything, we can help you.
Yeah.
So that's where the money's not going to go to, because I've seen them do that, and he's paying out. He doesn't have an OG pumpkin, right, or a defense strategy. That's just good money. He's an active duty guy, you know, and he's putting an event for hundreds and hundreds of people. We don't get paid like that. But yeah, man, it's So Eric, Eric's a regular Marine, right? But he is a hard fucking charger, dude. And it doesn't matter what the fuck you did, but at the same time, it does. Like it does and it doesn't. Like it does, as in it opens the door, right? Like I'm not sure how it's safe to say. I think both of us weren't bred to be like, hey, let's be friends. Right? We're not like that. We, especially veterans, aren't like that. So we need a common denominator to start being friends. You can. So usually 9 times out of 10, your first friends are veterans, and then for us, being what we've done, it opens the door. Right too. So it does and it doesn't. Right. That my first friend was a Marine, and then after that, it was Ryan Northup, the 275 guy. Did you guys serve together at the same time? He got shot on target.
No.
Actually, that was like his last mission. He got shot multiple times.
I don't know. When was he there?
Oh, dude, I remember. He's told me. Sorry, Ryan. He's told me, but I don't remember.
I was only, like I said, I was only there for 3 years and did one deployment, so that was about the extent of it. But
yeah, it opens the door for us to start communication. You know.
I know what you mean, because I mean, granted, while I'm not friends with that person anymore, they did open the door for me to be friends with a lot of people, you know, that are still currently my friends. But you know, even then, like, probably one of my closest friends is a civilian who's never served. You know what I mean? A couple of my closest friends actually have never served.
And you don't have to serve. We all have our spot. And we all contribute. When we love the United States, we all contribute in some way. Like, I'm not a fucking cop, man. And they serve in their way. And guess what, man? We need fucking doctors. We need plumbers. We need whatever. Hey, guess what? You can't come to me if your son is having an eye problem. Someone's got to go to fucking school to do this, right? To be an eye doctor. I don't know what the eye doctor fucking name is, but we need those people.
But there's like this. There's definitely like this. Like, it kind of goes into the identity crisis type thing, where it's like, some of these dudes get out. And to be perfectly honest, like, when I first got out, like, I struggled with it a little bit too.
I think a lot of us do.
Like the identity thing, where you're constantly wanting to like put like identify as like, well, you know, I was a Ranger. That was the thing, right? I was a Ranger, and that's all I identify as. You know what I mean?
But it's hard, dude, because, like, can you imagine being a fucking pro football player for like 8 years, 10 years, and then you get out and someone tries to make fun of you, like, oh, you fucking better not talk about being a fucking pro football player and being in the NFL. Because within our community, some of us, if you bring it up, they're like, oh, I'm not that fucking guy to talk about that I was a fucking Marine. How can you not talk about something that was part of your life for so long? Some of us do 15 years, some of us do 4, some of us do 8 or 10. Can you imagine doing something for 10 years and getting out and someone saying you can't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
10 years ago most likely isn't who you are fucking now. So if I don't talk about my military service or identify with it, you know what's next?
Yeah.
Like behind that, gang member.
Yeah.
So should I not talk about being a ranger or have it be part of my identity? So dude, I feel you because I went through that crisis too. When I got out, I thought I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm never gonna talk about it. And then I went into a martial arts gym and they're like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I go to school. They're like, oh, that's cool. And then they're like, oh, and we have a certain look to us, a certain demeanor, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh yeah. And then I was like, oh yeah, I was in the Army. They're like, ah, okay. And then I started opening up, and then I realized like, hey, I can't have, especially within my first 2 years of being out, I cannot not talk about the military. That's all I fucking done. So like, if we would talk about, like for example, at the martial arts gym, like they'd be like, damn, dude, you can just do fucking flutter kicks. So at the end, you know, it's like a ab burner, and they'd be like, dude, you just do flutter kicks like nothing. And I'm like, bro, because I fucking did so many, bro. Like you're a professional fighter, and these flutter kicks are kicking your ass.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's a move you're not used to, dude. You're fucking smoked like that all the time. Yeah. So it's not that these flutter kicks don't fucking no. It's like in the Army, I did it for so long. Yeah. So it's like again, any little thing you go back to it. So.
Yeah. For like a long time, it's like your only experience, you know, especially like. I don't know when you went in, but I went in when I was early 19. So before that, I had, you know, high school. That was it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what am I going to do? Talk about how fucking my high school days? No.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was a little
Some people still do to this day.
You know? But there's definitely like, I guess, a fine a balance. You know what I mean? So for me, like, I don't know. I've kind of like found this balance of like, you know, yes, I'm proud of my service and things that I've done, like my accomplishments.
Yeah.
And I also acknowledge my failures there as well. But that is not necessarily who I am. Like who I was, like you said earlier, you know, like who I was when I was in Ranger Regiment is not who I am today.
Yeah.
Like I probably actually learned more from being in Ranger Regiment. I probably learned more after the fact, like after I left, because I started actually thinking about things like, man, maybe I should actually like it humbled me. So I started actually thinking about things like, man, like what does the Ranger Creed actually say, you know, or like what did my team leader actually teach me, or you know, who was I actually looking up to? Who was actually like my mentor back then? You know what I mean? And so I started learning more after I got kicked out of Regiment.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
You saying that you know, who I was the same way, man. And in Regiment, I don't know of anybody in Regiment who hasn't done something stupid. The highest of the highest has done something stupid.
Yeah. And
they have failed something at one point. Like, but the Regiment is so, dude, I remember everyone's fucking done it. Everybody. I remember even I've done it. And I've talked about it on another podcast as a joke, because I thought it was fucking funny. Yeah. But dude, I remember I got fucking clown on like hard. And the dude who was clowning on me, I said it to somebody who I knew would say it to him. I'm like, if he's gonna fucking tell me something, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody knew at the time that I was active competing Muay Thai, and maybe that's why he didn't fucking say something to my face. But you ever seen like right before a jump, people would take the pills, the motion sickness pills? That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would watch people take those pills, and then I didn't know what the fuck that was, right? And then I asked, like, one day I asked, like, what are they taking? And they're like, oh, it's for motion sickness. And I remember being like, fucking, you know, fucking pussies. Like, it's not even that bad, dude. Right? So my last MLAT, right? For people who don't know, MLAT is like this multi-million-dollar exercise that we do. Every year we got the Air Force to come in, the combat controllers, and we're jumping in, and we're taking over an airfield. Sometimes it's airfields that we've been to before, and sometimes it's airfields we've never been to give us, throw a little curveball.
Yeah.
And you jump a lot of times. I think maybe like 3 or 2, minimum twice, but it's like 3 times maybe even during this exercise.
And it's like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Of working, no weekend off.
Yep.
No.
And
it's like you're up till like 5 a.m.
The schedule split. You sleep in the day and you work at night.
Yeah.
And I remember my first jump on my last MLAT, dude, I had to pee so bad. Like I had to pee before I even got rigged.
Yeah.
And I remember when they're tying up everything, you have all your gear, and I remember being like, dude, I'm gonna fucking pee my pants. And I was like, fuck, dude, like, and then it got not delayed, but it just took a little bit longer. And as soon as I landed, I didn't even take off my fucking, it wasn't even that windy. I didn't even like unbuckle my fucking parachute and do the whole thing. I literally just opened up my pants and took a knee and started peeing. And then I did everything because I had to pee so bad, dude.
Yeah.
So I remembered that. And the following day, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to drink that much water. And then I remember like, well, I'm not going to eat as much either. Because I don't want to have to take a shit. And we're getting ready for the jump. And it's supposed to be my second to last jump because I'm about to get out. And I'm not feeling good. Like, probably because I didn't fucking get enough sleep, enough food or water. And as soon as I start walking up the ramp, dude, and the plane takes off, like immediately starts taking off, I'm like, oh man, like I don't feel good. Like, and I'm like, is this motion sickness? So this shit, I would always make fun of people. Like, I was like, dude, I don't fucking, this doesn't feel good. And we're sitting, and a little bit of throw up, and I think it was a little bit because I didn't eat a lot or drink. Dude, a little bit of throw up came out, but in my mouth, and because and we're sitting down, because I didn't want to, Regiment being Regiment, I didn't want to look bad. I just swallowed it. And dude, I still feel like shit. I still fucking feel like shit. And they give the call, and dude, I might have been like the last guy to actually hook up because like I was so slow to get up, and I'm walking, dude, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna throw up again, and this time I don't think I can fucking swallow it, dude. I feel so bad, and I throw up a little bit again in my mouth, and like, that ugly feeling you get in your throat. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I'm gonna fucking throw up. And I'm walking, and next thing you know, I'm at the fucking door, and they're yelling at me, let fucking go. And then I was like, oh shit, so I let go and jumped out. So it might have been like maybe 2 seconds or 3 seconds, I don't know, but it's an eternity because you're not even supposed to be there for a second. You're supposed to just fucking jump out, right? So I fucked up, right? And the first time I was like, dude, well, he didn't say dude, but he was like, what happened? And I lied to him. I was like, I don't know what happened. Like, I'm sorry. He's like, why did you stop at the door? And I was like, I should have just told him the truth. Like, I had motion sickness. I fucking threw up and swallowed some of it, and I just, it was fucking bad. And then that was better than my lie that I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. So one of the jump masters was like, he said something like, oh, I'm gonna fucking punch him in his fucking stupid chest or like something like that. And somebody told me that he said that, and then I said, well, if he can fucking do it, if he thinks, and he was higher ranking, right? If he thinks I'm not gonna fucking touch him, he's wrong, right? So anyway, that's my story on how, like, that's how I fucked up. So I'm vocal about my fuck ups because to think that you're not a fuck up, dude, I don't know of anybody who's perfect in and out of the military. 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, the person who fucking portrays that they're perfect are the worst, or the fucking child molesters, or the wife beaters, or when somebody comes up to me and you don't have to come up to me and give me your list of the shit you fucked up, but if you are painting an image that you are fucking perfect, sums up with you.
Which is super weird because, like, you would think that like because everybody says that, like, well, of course nobody's perfect, but there's people that that will say that, but they literally think they're perfect.
Yeah.
And it's just it's weird, and that's definitely one thing from Regiment that's kind of I don't know, I guess put a bad taste in my mouth. I still have a lot of good friends that I served with in Regiment, but there's also a lot of people that just turned on you as soon as you did anything, as soon as you failed Ranger School and got kicked out, and
or if you try to go
all the
go
time.
SF, they're they're like, fuck you, dude, you traitor, you're leaving us, you think you're better than us, or whatever. Dude, there's a healthy, well, not healthy, there's a reason, man. I get it, man. The Marines, I think, are the worst, and they agree. They drink the fucking Kool-Aid like no other. And I think you have to be at a certain level, because top dudes don't say well, I'm not really the baddest man in the world. The number one fighter doesn't tell himself that. You gotta fucking tell yourself that to fucking believe it, act like it, right? So there's a level to it, but at the same time, I know what you mean, man. And there's only one dude for my regiment history that if I see him, I'm gonna fuck him up. Just and it wasn't even, he did some stuff to me, but what it is he treated Solis really bad. He was an officer, and a bunch of people make fun of him, but he played the politician game, and he was cool with the higher ups, and I remember he just treated, Solis was such a good person, dude. Speaking on things that you learn and who you looked up to, and afterwards you see things. Dude, I wish I would have been a lot cooler with Solis, because he was trying to be friendly with me. No, not trying. He was friendly with me. He was super friendly with me. I remember my starter wouldn't start, and I was like, fuck, man. I don't know shit about cars. And I was like, oh, man, my car's fucked up. And he's like, oh, what is it? And he's like, let's go check it out. And he checks it out, and he's like, oh, it's your starter. And I'm like, oh, man. I was like, I'll get it towed. And he's like, what? No, let's order the parts. I'll do it for you. So, and I was like, oh, I don't know anything about cars. And he's like, I'll teach you. So he did it. And I remember thinking, I looked it up about how much it would be. I remember telling him, well, I can, if you want, I'll give you half the money. And he's like, what? No, I don't want, you don't have to give me half. You don't have to give me anything. He was being super friendly, right? But he was so kind that people were at least while I was there, especially that officer, would step on him and treat him bad, and take that weakness. I mean, take that kindness as a weakness. Right. And him saying respecting the authority and saying, okay, yes, okay, oh, yes, I'll do that. And I was like, dude, no, you should have fucking told him no. You should have, that's not your fucking job. Let him go do something. Go get other fucking shitheads to do it. And he treated Solis bad, and Solis taught me you should be good just to be good. Not to gain anything back. Not if someone's bad to you, if you do something bad to me, act angrily or ugly, me acting angrily ugly to you doesn't justify me. But he was that way, so I'm gonna be that way too. He was a shitty person, I'm gonna be a shitty person. No, dude, you should just be a good person to be a good person. Obviously there's lines and boundaries, if somebody assaults you or stuff like that, but we're just talking about communication, right? He was good to everybody. And afterwards I was like, fuck, dude, I wish I would, I went to his house and stuff like that, and we had because we were both engineers, combat engineers, we would have combat engineer breakfast and stuff like that. But I wish I would have spent more time. But I was just so fucking angry, dude. And all this stuff I'm telling the kids that I'm fucking messaging, dude, you should also not do this. You should enjoy the journey, man. Because I wasn't enjoying it, dude. My friends I was told Regiment is the place that if you want to get some killing done, you go to fucking Regiment. I did a bunch of time and work with third group, and we fucking and doing the visibility operations. And have you seen any of the combat footage or pictures that I dude, we fucking got it. We fucking got it. We had multiple dudes killed and 2 or 3 times that number wounded of us, right? So I got to Regiment angry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because fucking Pinnick had died, Lily had died, Alome, they it was like a napalm type IED, dude. Like 70% of his body got burnt,
Yeah.
like to a crisp,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, a bunch of dudes fucking died, and I got there angry, so I didn't enjoy the journey so much. I just wanted to deploy and go back and kill people, even though I knew
Yeah.
it wasn't going to bring my friends or anything like that. But that's all I wanted to fucking do.
Yeah.
And I was so blind to that I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed the training, I enjoyed all that, but I didn't enjoy the people as much as I should have. And
Yeah.
then when I got out, I realized, dude, even like the dudes you kind of didn't like or the shitheads were way better than a lot of these people.
Yeah.
And I that's why I tell the younger generation, dude, you gotta enjoy the journey. Like these people right now in these years, like are. I'm not saying it's the best ever, and you're never gonna have great moments in your life past this. You will, but like these are very precious times, and enjoy it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think kind of the same thing for me. I don't think I appreciated where I was at very much, and I think that's why I kind of got humbled and you know, fell off the path. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean on that. Yeah.
Dude, well, thank you for coming. It was a great conversation, and I wanted to have this conversation, you know, in person. But I'm glad you came out, and dude, like, it's a shame of what happened to you, because in my eyes, you were the closest one to Travis. So for that to happen, dude, I can't. That's not a good thing. That can't help you to open up with people. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So, but dude, I think you should come to the events more often. We have the company is not just the company, but the community that we're growing is fucking so big, and we can help each other out.
Yeah.
And people will try to come into it, but it's just our job to fucking clear them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, we have a good networking going on, and I truly believe we are. We talked a little bit about this before the podcast started. We are the second wave. I feel like I'm part of the second wave of veterans who are creating something very unique. For example, David Goggins, Jocko, Tim Kennedy, all the Black Rifle Coffee guys. Like Matt Best was the first one I saw. Right, I remember they were making their videos, and I thought that was hilarious. And then they were going, you know, and then they started a company, and I remember thinking, like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like that's like 1 in a billion. Like but that's not for me. Like that's not an option. I can't go out and do stuff like that and make money and do cool things with cool people. When I get out, I'll probably do like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And then you see Tim Kennedy doing it, even though I think he's active, or I don't know what is he still active?
I think he went back active.
Okay, and David Goggins and Jocko, you know, Mike Ritlin, Andy Stumps, like they're doing all this stuff, and they may have not come out the same year and started the same thing, but I feel like they're the first wave, and I feel like I'm part of the second wave, along with all of the guys that we're building something very unique, and I want good dudes who are driven to benefit from all this. Right? I didn't think we're at 107 people would get this shit tattooed on them, right? And that I would be on all these podcasts, and that our first skate event that I did with Thrash and Raid, who's a sponsor. For people who don't know, Benji is the owner of Thrash and Raid. He's a former martial guy. He does a lot of great things for the community, the skateboard, the veteran community, but more specifically the skateboarding community. He is a sponsor of the OG Pumpkin podcast, so go check out his stuff. But him and I did the skate event at my house that unfortunately fucking Travis Rates went to.
Yeah.
I told Benji, was like, hey man, like we had a skate contest, cash money prizes for amateur skaters, and I remember being like, man, maybe like 4 people are gonna come, and like some of the 4 are gonna be you and I. Next thing you know, 65 people showed up.
Yeah.
And then we did number 2.
Yep.
And again, we were like, I don't know. Last time it was 65, so let's just say 65. 400 plus people showed up.
Yeah.
Our next one, which Benji hasn't announced so much of it,
Yeah.
we're going to be in Vegas. We're going to have a monster truck, and we're going to have a car run. We're going to have the monster truck run over a car. Not us. We're gonna pick a winner. Somebody we don't know. We're gonna do the same thing, and the venue is a 1,500 person venue.
Wow.
So we are doing this. We are doing the things that we like to do. That I saw the first generation, the first wave, that they're doing to this day, and they and I've been on some of their podcasts, like Andy Stumps and Mike Ridlands, and Mike Glovers, and they taught me, and I feel like a lot of us, that you can come out and you don't have to settle for some 9 to 5 that you may not like. Like you can literally be successful in what you're passionate about if you put in the time and the hours. I was helping kids at this point. It's 24 special operation guys that they've done the work, but I've guided. I've given my advice, and they sent me the picture of the beret and stuff like that. So I did this for 3.5 years, and then I started OG Pumpkin, and that was it's picking up. You know, I got about 9 UFC fighters rocking the rash guards, professional Muay Thai fighters. You know, I have law enforcement. I got dudes from the hood because you know my fucking background in being a gang member, SWAT, federal agents, people in the medical community, like fucking doctors, you know, and it's happening.
Yeah.
But this has not happened by myself. This has happened based off a large community, and group, and so many people, and same with Benji, man. Like, he's an addition, so we are on our way. I feel like, and deep and fitness is doing a great thing. And dude, if we can, I feel like we can all help each other. Some veterans would say the market's not big enough. You know, worry about yourself. Don't give your time. I've been told by people like, hey, why are you reposting Kit God the day you do a launch, the day you do a drop? Why are you doing that? You're taking numbers away from you. And I'm like, and when I would see them, and I'd be like, and be like, damn, dude, this is how I know you and I are not the same, and how you and I don't think alike.
Yeah. That's probably another big problem in the community, is that people they'll put their numbers and their money and their followers before putting their friends and their friends' companies and things like that. It's like I'd much rather spend money and work with my friends and do good things with my friends and great things for them as well, to benefit them and not just me. I'd much rather do that than see only myself thriving. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And dude, like, and you don't have to be a special operations guy if you, dude. What Travis was doing, a lot of people, I saw a lot of comments that are like, hey, if that dude would have just said he was a fucking National Guard dude and just kept doing what he was doing, I mean, maybe he wouldn't have been as big, but he would have been successful within the community.
Yeah.
So, you know, as in for people, as a warning sign or as a heads up, man, like, okay, yeah, let's be honest, some soft guys do care, right? If you're soft, you're soft. If you're not, then fuck you, dude, loser. But, dude, there's people out there that don't care if you're not, they don't care that you're not soft. You can be successful, you will be supported.
As long as you're a good fucking person.
Yeah.
Like, that's all that really matters, man.
Yeah.
None of that fake shit.
Dude, but
you don't need it.
Thank you for coming. I'm hungry. I'm not sure if you're hungry, dude. If you're up for it, dude, let's go grab a steak. On OG Pumpkin, on the company.
I'm down. I'm down for a steak. Steak and a beer.
You want a steak? Let's do this. All right, awesome. Thank you everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Having me, man.
No problem, man.